Coach, what kind of style does Coach Conkle have for Tulsa?
Well, he's got guards that can score. Sam Griffin kid played against us last year. Played well too, especially in Tulsa. Then he has the kid that was a freshman guard last year, Pritchard. You got a transfer from Chicago State who was first team all WAC, the Betson kid. So he's got three guards that can all make a play off the bounce. They run a lot of actions to get their guards downhill. You've got to make sure that you close the window on Griffin, because if he has separation, he'll get it off, and he's an outstanding three-point shooter. They've got a new big kid. Seems like we played against Igbanu for 10 years, but he's finally gone. But they've got a big kid that's a really good offensive rebounder, Selin Banku. It's his first year. He's done a great job of putting his team together. They have an identity with their guards, and they're big, strong, and physical. So, it's our next game. We look at every game the same. It's an important game. These teams are all well coached. They have good players. So we look forward to a really tough game on Wednesday night in Tulsa.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle next. Joseph, please go ahead.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Kelvin, and happy holidays.
Same to you. Thank you.
Kelvin, as conference play starts across the country this week, and I don't think it started anywhere else last week. Has anything jumped out at you? Just look at it, as you prepare for your games. Some of the other things that are going on in terms of teams that maybe have been better than you thought, or sort of haven't panned out to what you thought.
Well, if somebody hadn't panned out, there's a good chance I wouldn't say their names. And teams have started conference play. ACC has started. The Big Ten has started. Several conferences started conference plays. We have not, but other conferences have. Not really. Nobody knows what anybody has, so I don't go on what other people say going into the season. It's like paying attention to preseason polls. Got to put somebody in there. So if that person didn't put the people in there now, that means that these other people are surprises. Maybe there's a group of people that thought those people should have been there to begin with. So I don't have a surprise, or we just kind of focus on the teams we're playing. I don't know a lot about a lot of teams, just like there's a lot of teams that don't know anything about us. We don't get to see everybody. I saw the Phil Knight Invitational. I got to see those teams then. Some of the TV games I've seen. So everybody looks pretty good to me, man.
If I could follow through this, Kelvin, I guess what I was also getting at, in the past, you tell us you're the one who knows your schedule when you put it together. An idea of the teams. You look at maybe how things didn't necessarily work out on some teams' ends last year. This year, those teams that you have on your schedule have all done well. All of them are have had good season. So your team is benefiting from what other teams are doing outside of games that they play against you. Whether it's the net, the quad ones, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, we research the teams. We just don't grab the phone and start calling people. I mean, Norfolk State had 5 starters back, from a team that went to the NCAA tournament. Kent State has the best team. Rob Senderov's the all-time winningest coach in the history of Kent State, and he has his best team coming back. So we knew how good Kent State was. We knew how good Norfolk State was. Northern Colorado, Colorado State, I think, won at St. Mary's, and Northern Colorado won at Colorado State. Doesn't surprise us. We know how they've got the player of the year in that league back, and their entire starting backcourt. So if you go down to the list of the teams that we scheduled, we do this every year. People's always going to have comments about your schedule, but you don't pay attention to what they say because they don't know what they don't know. We do. Like the schedule for next year, we're already working on next year's schedule now. So, we always try to find the right balance for us. Make it challenging, but also make it balanced. But the teams that we've played thus far are all doing good as we anticipated.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to James Mueller from the Cougars. James, go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Kelvin.
Good morning.
Just going back to McNeese, Tremont didn't get his shot going, but he's displayed, some stuff as a distributor. I was just, how have you seen him develop, as a passer, and just where are areas he can continue to grow in that aspect?
Well, let's go back to your first comment. He didn't seem to get a shot going. What do you mean by that?
Or he went 1 for 7, but 5 assists. So he impacted the game other than, scoring.
Yeah. Everybody on our team's going to have a night. Every game we play, there will be somebody that didn't get their shot going. Jarris has had enough of those. Marcus had enough of those. Jamal's had enough of those. Tremont's had enough. J1's had enough. We don't go into games trying to get a guy's shot going. We go into the game, believe it or not, trying to win. That's more important than anything else, is win the game. We have a team full of kids that care more about winning than they do statistics. So don't judge our kids off statistics.
Thank you, James. Does anyone else have any questions for Coach Sampson here? No hands raised. Up. We'll go to Mark Berman with Fox 26. Mark, go ahead, please, sir.
Hey, Kelvin, how are you?
But I will say this about Tremont, though, James, is Tremont came out of high school. He didn't understand shot selection. That's a lot of kids don't, not just Tremont. Most of these kids are used to playing willy-nilly basketball. I call it give and go. Give it to me and go to hell. They don't pass to anybody. They just grab it and shoot it. And Tremont played like that. He was playing like that a little bit earlier in the year. He probably has people in his ear telling him to shoot. Sometimes we have to get kids to understand what winning basketball is. And I think the Virginia game was a good example of that. The one thing that we're constantly on Tremont about, though, is getting the ball to the rim. Tremont's a very good free throw shooter. I don't think he gets fouled enough. But he has the ability to get the ball in the paint and finish at the rim. His mid-range shot has always been his kind of his bread and butter shot, his go-to shot. But as he evolves, Tremont is going to continue to evolve as a player over the next few years. He's nowhere near as good as he's going to be, as is most of the kids that come in here. But I think he's got to learn to play right-handed more. He's got to play right-handed more, and he's got to learn to get the ball to the rim and make the right play. That's where I'd like to see him evolve. What was your question, Mark?
Can I ask you how you felt about the way your team has come together and grown as a group, as a unit, through a non-conference schedule as you start your conference schedule?
Yeah, it's been a lot of growth. I apologize for continuing to say this, but the most difficult thing for us is having to replace 4 starters every year, because that means we have to start over. When you win as much as we've won, people just take it for granted, but I don't. trying to figure out who's going to be our starting five this year, who were going to be our five. We bet on JVA because we saw him every day. We have an advantage here, obviously. We thought he had a chance to develop, but in order for him to develop, he needed to be on the floor. And I'm gaining trust in JVA. The more trust I have in him, the more he's going to play. J1, Jarris, how do we come to a conclusion about those guys? The answer is we don't. We don't ever come to a conclusion. But I just decided, I think in the scrimmages, let's throw them out there and see how they look together. I think the area that we've really improved in more than anything has been rebounding. There was a time there I didn't like the way we rebounded, but we've gotten a lot better there. Our shot selection's got a lot better. Our half-court offensive execution's gotten a lot better, but we get better as we go. Sometimes you can be like a no-hit, great field shortstop, where people say, well, he's not a very good hitter. Then for 10 years, he hits 290, but he came in as a non-hitter, and people says, well, he's not a very good hitter. Oh, I didn't realize he was hitting 290. Yeah, it's because you didn't evolve. He did. But our team has high growth potential still. We've still got freshmen. It's the first time we've had two true freshmen. The year that we lost to Kentucky, I think I can't remember what our record was. It was 30-something and something. I can't remember. But I remember we're bringing Nate Hinton, who was a true freshman, and Dejan Giroux, who had some veteran in him. He played a year in college, so we had a freshman and a veteran off the bench. Whereas this year, right now, we have Emmanuel, freshman, Terrence, freshman, Ramon, sophomore, JVA listed as sophomore, but we all know he's a freshman, and Reggie. Reggie's really the only veteran. So when you have young guys, you would like to think they're going to continue to get better, and if they get better, that can help our team get better. So our team's coming together, but we also know, and I always take this approach: you're going to lose every game you play. Anybody can. So for us, it's just continue to work and develop and make sure we have the right mindset every day in practice, and that usually carries over to games.
Thank you, Mark. We'll go back to Chris Gardner. Go ahead, Chris.
Coach, what areas of Emmanuel's game have you seen him improve?
All of them. I mean, literally, I'm not trying to dodge your question, but name an area he's improved in it. Every single area. When he came, kid didn't play for 18 months. He broke his leg, compound fracture his ankle. That's been well chronicled. But when you ask me that question, that's not a one phase of the game answer. Every one of them. He basically had to learn how to run again. So when he got here, he couldn't do anything good. So he's improved in everything.
Thank you, Chris. I don't see any hands raised here in the chat. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to ask Coach? Anybody else? Are we good? Chris, you got another one?
Yeah, real quick, Coach. What is the determination of a young man enrolling early?
What is the determination?
Like he has to graduate in December? Is it other factors?
Well, as to graduate, well, if he's a high school kid, he has to get his degree. He has to finish his high school degree early. He has to put his name in the NCAA clearinghouse. He has to be eligible academically. All of his transcripts have to be in, and it goes right to admissions, and they determine whether or not he is eligible for early admittance. So I think SED will be our third one. We had Caleb and Emmanuel, and now SED. I think it's invaluable in so many different ways. But I'm looking forward for Ced to get here and go against Reggie and JVA and Jarris and Darius Bowser has been out. He's had multiple concussions in his career. He's had some real issues with those. He had one here and it kind of triggered all of his past ones. So we've been very careful with him and with Darius. But Darius is I'm so happy that he chose to come here. He's been tremendous for us. He's an outstanding student, great kid. He's at practice every day. His teammates love him. And hopefully he'll get back to the court here pretty soon. He's still going through his tests for his injuries in his head, and hopefully he'll get back here pretty soon. But that's a serious business that we work with the concussion syndrome with these kids. And of course the CTE, is that the correct acronym that football players go through? You don't mess around with head injuries, and we have great doctors, awesome trainer in John Houston. So we've been really careful with Darius, and when he's ready, we'll be ready for him.
I got time for one more question. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, on Darius, is it a matter of at this point, is there value to not using him this year and bringing him back? Is that a conversation, or is the plan that you would prefer to use him?
Well, when you say use, what do you mean?
Well, for him to actually play this year.
No, well, the plan was never for him to play. The plan was for him to practice, give us an extra body. We're very honest with all our kids. We don't sugarcoat anything. We said, here's what we need. We planned on playing JDA, but we needed an extra body to practice. And through October and then in November, he was invaluable for us. We miss him. I'd like to get him back so he gives us another body at practice. And he'll be great for Ced too. Ced's just 18 years old. Darius is almost 23, but Darius already has his degree. He's working on his master's right now. He passed 15 credits his first semester with well over a 3.0 grade point average, getting his master's. And hopefully he'll be back next year, finishing his master's, working with us in some capacity. That's how much we like him.